I want to take a look at shares of Alphabet today because it was such a story yesterday. Remember, it was our lead because we made it our chart of the day on this announcement that they did with Gemini, finally rolling out their AI model to, what seemed to be rave reviews. If you guys remember, I cited maybe 3 or 4 different notes from Wall Street analysts, and the commentary was all glowing. Then we had Steve Kovach on, of course, our ace tech reporter, who said, well, you know what? Some are suggesting that maybe this isn't all that it's cracked up to be. And then you had, that was from The Information, which Steve cited yesterday. Then TechCrunch today, Google's best Gemini demo was faked. That's their headline. The Verge, Google just launched a new AI and has already admitted at least one demo wasn't real. So we bring Steve Kovach back on with us today to figure out what in the world is going on. Now, the stock is now negative by 1.5%.
Right.
Maybe some of this is filtering through. What do we know?
Yeah, so that video demo of Gemini that everyone is kind of going crazy over, Sundar Pichai shared it on X, and it's been getting a lot of attention, including on CNBC. It was edited. It was cut to look like it was faster and more capable than it actually is. Google has been kind of not showing this in demos to people as well. So it's basically what we're looking at here is it's called multimodal, Scott, which means really fancy way of saying Gemini is supposed to be able to take in visual cues, audio cues, and text cues and kind of collate all that together to give you the answer. That's not what Google actually did when they shot this video we're looking at. What they did was feed it text prompts and then over that do some voiceover to kind of show what it could look like. So I've been pressing Google on this. They finally gave me a statement saying this is actually meant to be an illustrative version of what Gemini could be like when it's finally out and when it finally launches. But this is important because a lot of startups who want to get into AI, who want to start tapping into large language models, maybe want to look for an alternative outside of OpenAI or Anthropic or something, might be looking to Google. But Google's making promises about this one product that it's just not there yet, and it's not clear whether or not it's better or good enough to compete with ChatGPT yet.
Interesting things you just said. What it could be.
Exactly.
The market has already determined what ChatGPT is.
Correct.
Not what it could be. And that's why Microsoft has done what it's done. And for NVIDIA's sake, what their GPUs are, not what they can be. These are things that are deemed to be more monetizable in a faster fashion.
Exactly.
Then now we're throwing cold water on the whole idea of Alphabet being able to catch up to Microsoft in a faster frame than some had suggested.
That's exactly what this is. And even before it really came to light that this video was altered or manipulated or fake or whatever you want to call it, even before that, there were still questions whether or not that Gemini model was good enough as ChatGPT 4. Also, there's ChatGPT 5, of course, on the way, which is going to be even a leap beyond that. And so, look, if you're making a decision today and who's winning this race right now, it's not Google yet. It doesn't mean they can't get there. And it's also very illustrative of what they're thinking now and the pressure they're feeling, where they feel like they have to put out these demo videos that are manipulated, that are edited. Because remember early in February where they had that demo where Bard just completely gave the wrong answer, nuked tens of billions of dollars in market value from the company because of that. They avoided that mistake, but it's also not exactly honest about what this is capable of.
This makes you think that they are, these are my words obviously, desperate and defensive.
Oh, absolutely.
Desperate to catch up to Microsoft, defensive that they don't have what it takes to do so.
New York Times had a great report over last weekend just talking about how Google was kind of caught flat-footed by the launch of ChatGPT last fall. Sundar Pichai comes in and tries to rearrange everything. They created a new AI division with the head of Google DeepMind now running all of this stuff. So, yeah, they are working and making a huge effort to catch up, but they still haven't. And this new model that was supposed to at least get them on par with the competition, it's still unclear whether or not it can do it, despite what they tried to show earlier this week.
So, Jim, you heard what Steve has to suggest. You're in the stock. Does this set your own thinking back based on the shade that's being thrown?
Well, there's obviously some uncovering of the truth to be done still, but I think what's going on here, Steve and Scott, is that the market is synthesizing what Brad Gerstner said last week, which is that Google has really, given away the lead to Microsoft, with what Josh Brown said yesterday. And I listened to him, and he said, "Don't count out Alphabet. Remember, Google was late to the search game, and now it's a verb. You Google something the way you used to Xerox something." Now, the way the market has synthesized this is to give Google a 20x forward multiple, while it gives Microsoft a 30x multiple. And if you ask me, that discount of 1/3 of the valuation actually gives an asymmetric upside risk to Alphabet shares. I think if you're counting out Alphabet as being unable to compete in ChatGPT, then we're not giving enough credit to the DeepMind acquisition and to the overall engineering prowess at Alphabet. I've got my money on Alphabet. I own both stocks, but I'm much more overweight. In fact, it's the only tech stock I'm overweight in Alphabet versus Microsoft. I see the compelling valuation, and they will catch up.
Yeah, and that's true. And I don't think anyone's doubtful that Google can catch up. It's just they're not there now, and it's the kind of, I don't know, dishonesty of how they're presenting what they have today, not tomorrow, not next year, today, and people making their decisions today as they want to build it into this stuff. It's not there yet. Doesn't mean it won't get there. Doesn't mean a non-Google, a non-OpenAI could come up out of the woodwork next year and have something better. But right now, it's not there.
I think there are legitimate questions, Weiss, as to whether they can catch up. That, they ceded way too much when they had, to Jim's point, yes, they had DeepMind in-house. I've had on numerous occasions one of the co-creators of DeepMind, Mustafa Suleiman, on with us. He no longer is there. It just speaks volumes as to they are racing to figure this out in a way that they don't cede too much ground to Microsoft. And I'm just wondering how you would view this latest episode in the whole prism where, we've heard Brad Gerstner say, no, they can do something, and they will, but they just gave away the store.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think that's overstating what's going on. Look, it's not as if Google is, a company that's trying to raise their next dollar to hire some more engineers to catch up with OpenAI. It's a very, very, well-funded company with so much excess cash, and money can cure a lot of ills and could close the gap. They will close the gap. As you can see from what's happened in tech and time memoriam, they will close it. I wouldn't call this abject dishonesty. It was a marketing issue, and it's the second marketing issue they had. And if they haven't addressed the individuals that are responsible for this, they should. But the other thing I'd say is that there will always be a gap between the valuation in Google and Microsoft. Microsoft has a much more robust subscription model than Google does, and that's what markets pay for that recurring revenue and the ability to charge more for that revenue stream. So that's why Microsoft is my largest position. I'm not worried about Google. It's a pretty sizable position. They'll do quite well, and it's also, frankly, helps me on the lack of cyclicality in my portfolio, because the ad revenue is somewhat cyclical. So I'm fine with it. This is just noise today. If you notice, the stock's only giving a part of their gain from yesterday, so the market's still enthused about what's going on there.
No, that's fair. Citi's still bullish on it, too. They set the stage for a product ramp in 2024. That's what they're talking about today. Excuse me. Reiterate with a target of 153 on Alphabet. So your point's well taken, Steve. Thank you.